About putting a fullback into the offense. Is that still part of the plan? And how does Nick Ballore fit with that, since he seems to be the only fullback on the roster?
Yeah, I mean, definitely from a fullback standpoint, or even just trying to put a second back in the backfield, it's something that always gives teams a lot of difficulty when you can line up with a guy in the backfield and then insert him into the defense, you know, from that standpoint, create an extra gap or extra space. It always has another level of complexity to it, you know, to try to defend. So we're certainly going to, you know, keep everything moving from that standpoint. And from a personnel standpoint, it could be, you know, a number of different players that are back there. Nick's done a great job, you know, really with his role, and he's done it in the past before. You know, he's been in that situation where he's been in the backfield in that situation.
Do you recall him as a special teams player with the Jets? He was sort of an ace for them in his whole career.
Yeah, you know, he's just been a really good football player. You know, every time, whatever his role has been out on the football field, he's, you know, executed at a high level, even going through, you know, the tape from last year and some of the things that they asked him to do, both sides of the ball. You know, just goes out, has a good feel for the game. It's not too big for him. He can really transition from the different sides of the ball. He's a smart guy and find it and see it and has good vision. So, you know, he's just a good, solid football player. You always like guys like that, tough guy, smart guy that you try to find someplace on the field for him.
Yesterday. I just want to ask you more broadly, what's the definition of like a Hall of Fame player to you? Do you look at stats or team success, or sort of how would you define Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I don't really think I'm qualified for. You know, I mean, I just know that being out on the field with the guys like, you know, like Randy, just a phenomenal guy first and foremost, you know, as a teammate was great, and as a coach to be around a player like that was phenomenal. You know, when you get around guys like that, and you tend to learn obviously way more than you can, you know, than you can give them, just, you know, by the things that they do. So I've been around a lot of great players, and, you know, he certainly was one.
Matt, I would guess have seen what's going on at Ohio State, you know, Urban. What's your reaction to it, and also considering your past, how would you handle a situation
Sure.
like that?
I don't have any comment on Ohio State. I'm just really focused on the Lions. I'm trying to get better than what we did yesterday on the field. So I'll leave it at that. Again, I mean, I'm going to answer questions about our team.
Freddie Bishop's a guy that spent some time in this organization before. Obviously, you weren't here, but you signed him before camp. Seems to be popping out there a little bit, especially in the pass rush drills. What do you like about what he brings to the field?
Yeah, you know, obviously a guy that came in here short notice, you know, and kind of got thrown into the fire here pretty quick. Has picked up the stuff very well, studied kind of, you know, he has experience, so he'll be able to, you know, be able to translate some of the information that he has in his head and put it into our language, which is good. But I would say a guy that came in and, you know, tried to really make an impression from his physical presence and the way that he plays on the line of scrimmage, and his aggressiveness, which I think, you know, so far he's done a good job of trying to show us that. You know, we'll just have to see it on a consistent basis and see if he can really get with the techniques and the things like that we're asking him to do. But a hard-working guy, tough guy, smart guy, has been able to pick up the stuff from that standpoint, and someone that really, you know, wants to be out there and do everything he can. So you're going to work with those guys as much as possible. But really just, you know, stepped right in. And, you know, that's not easy to do at this phase. You know, a lot of the guys out there have had the spring and, you know, the early part of training camp to go. So that's been all positive.
Just another quick kind of follow-up on Nick Ballore. How does a guy, maybe other than effort, how does a guy stand out on special teams at this time of year?
Yeah, you know, a lot of special teams is matchups, you know, so you're going to put them in different positions, drills, things like that, where it might be just a one-on-one situation. And it's a lot of, obviously, 11 on 11 bodies going at the same time. But try to look at those individual matchups, and that's something where he just consistently wins those situations. You know, he does a real good job with leverage, real good job of identifying, you know, what he's seeing in front of him. Special teams is obviously a space play. There's some things that can happen from a standpoint of misdirection or scheme or levels of the play in particular. And, you know, you may be running down the field trying to get to your assignment, but you have to set up a couple moves or set up a couple different positions to get to where you have to go. And to be able to see that in front of you kind of take place is, you know, it's really hard. And it's just different than a lot of other parts of the game. And he does a great job of that. You can really just see it on the film when you watch him just be in the right positions at the right time with the right technique. And like I said, in those one-on-one situations, just continually win, which is, you know, which is a great evaluation tool for us.
Matt, as a defensive coach in the NFL, how difficult is it to scheme against an offense with a balanced, very run game where they do a lot of concepts well?
Sure. As a defensive coordinator, when you're going into a game where the offense has both the dynamic, run game and pass game, it's obviously more difficult. You try to really take a look at the personnel groups and how they're, putting those packages together. So balance is always good. That's what you strive for as a coach. You want to be balanced. But, again, we're going to do whatever we have to do week in, week out to win. I've certainly been on teams before where, you're playing a really good defense. They're maybe the 1 or 2 run defense in the league, and offensively you're going to go into the game and say, all right, well, we're going to throw the ball because that's what it's going to take to win that particular week, or might vice versa in that situation. So it's always good to be balanced so that when those different game plan modes come into effect, you can quickly transfer into one or the other based on what the other opponent is doing. And then certainly as the game goes on, the game is going to shift and it's going to change, and if you need to move your game plan at that point, you want to make sure that you're just more than one-dimensional.
How fair is it to find an offense in this league where they don't just do gap stuff well, they do zone stuff like equally well at a higher level?
Yeah, it just depends. There are definitely systems and coaches that, fully believe in the zone and the stretch scheme, and then there's going to be coaches that, just really major in the gap or the down blocking and the pullers and things like that. You tend to lean towards one or the other, and there certainly are teams that do both, and I think, again, as you dial, deeper down into it, if you're talking about the run game specifically, you'd like to have a combination of both of them from that standpoint. It might be a better game to go downhill, might be a better game to, stretch it and cut it. So you got to take a look at both of those options.
Your impressions of Brandon Powell so far and how he fits into the wide receiver battle?
Sure. My impression of him has been, for a young guy, really mature, a guy that's come in here with a great attitude to work, definitely, wants the answers, is studying hard to try to find out, not a guy that thinks that he's seen a lot, even though he's played, at a high level in college. It's really, he's kind of coming in with brand new eyes, which is good. That's where you want to start so that you can actually, dive into the new things that you have to teach him. Very quick, very fast, explosive type of player. Really has, multiple down value, so 3rd down, 4th down, things like that, early downs. So we'll just keep putting him out there, letting him compete. He's doing a good job so far. He's got a lot to learn, though. There's a lot of the nuances of the NFL and offense and defense that he still has to learn so that he can be, even better. But, very talented kid. But the thing that I would say is the best part about him is just his ability or his desire right now to learn, to learn and get better and just take a very mature approach to, the level that he's at, which is a big change from, college to the NFL.
Change because he's smaller in size and stature, height and everything. How does that change from the normal size receivers you're looking at?
Yeah, I'm not going to categorize any receiver as normal. Tall, small, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. It's how they produce. I've been around really big ones and really small guys and guys that do different things. So it's really about the production out on the field. It's about the consistency out on the field that he can go out there and play with. There's obviously, if there's the mental mistakes or there's the drop passes or the, you can't get lined up or just the lack of production, then, it doesn't really matter what the stature is. It obviously just affects your evaluation that way. If you're going out and you're in the right position and you're, taking advantage of every opportunity you can to catch the ball or get open or block if that's the case or, go out on special teams, then that's the most important thing.
A few more questions? Sean Hand, that was crazy the other day in practice, set out yesterday. Just when a young guy in a complex defense, how much do you worry about, them sort of falling behind when they have to miss practice time, I guess?
Well, I would say, with all guys, in that category, whether it's offense or defense or whatever the case may be, if you're not on the practice field, that's obviously not going to help you, but they, have to come in with the right approach to get all the meeting time they can and make sure they're paying attention to all the things that we're doing. And, we expect them that whenever that opportunity is, that they're back on the field, ready to go, that they, they don't miss a beat. There can't be any delay. So I think that pressure, that expectation that when they do, finally get out there to be able to perform, that there is no grace period to it. You got to go out and execute at a high level. They understand that. So I think that's the motivation that they work with.
Yeah, this is a holdover from yesterday. We were talking about Matthew Stafford. It's just a little bit esoteric. But when you just see him throw the ball, what do you see in this? The arc, the spin, how effortless it is.
Yeah, obviously, he's got an extremely strong arm. He's a guy that can spin it pretty good and fire downfield deep and drill it in there. But he also has a great ability. I would say the most impressive thing for me, not being around him every day and just seeing him in the games, is to see when we all know he's mobile, but when he's on that move, just how accurate he is, and the technique and the really the fundamentals that he uses in that. That's a whole different category. It's just different than when you get out of the pocket. Your body mechanics completely change, and there's a lot of coaching that goes around with that, as opposed to just when you stand in the pocket and can plant and drive. When you get out of the pocket and you're on the move, and obviously you got some large mammals coming at you, it's a little bit stressful. So his ability to really control his body in that situation and throw it as accurate as he does, that's probably been one of the most impressive things I've seen so far. Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.